The stock market's down a little bit for you shareholders in Green Bay, and I've got them ranked at number 18 in the NFL as we're approaching that midway mark on the ranking. Let's pack in. Let's talk about this roster. What is good? What could be a problem this season? Number 17th ranked offensive tackle room. I'm very encouraged after watching Jordan Morgan playing at his natural position. Oh, isn't it crazy? Playing players at their natural positions work. No, I totally understand why they do that. I really am excited though he's back at left tackle, and if he can be a good run blocker, it's going to be a massive upgrade over Rasheed Walker in this past season. But in terms of pass pro, he looks very, very good thus far. And then at right tackle, you got formerly Zach Tom. Now he changed his name to Zach Baka Baywele. Hopefully I pronounced that right. That's a great name, and I'm happy. Hey, it's awesome to do that and honor your heritage and all those sort of things. So let's go, Baka Baywele. I'm going to need to work on that pronunciation, but it's a great one. Besides that, who's going to be the swing tackle? That's really my only question here is who do you feel confidence? I mean, is Darian Kendrick is the main swing tackle. John Williams looked okay in the preseason game there. You got Travis Glover, upside guy who's dealt with some injuries, whether or not he's going to make the roster. My guess is they keep 4 of these tackles, and then they'll keep 6 of the interior, which will transition right into the interior. I rank this room at number 29. I am worried about the interior of this offensive line and how consistent they're going to be this season. Aaron Banks is currently dealing with the injury. We'll have to keep a monitor on that, on how he'll be available in the season and throughout the season. Sean Ryan is a solid center. He certainly stepped it up last season and certainly shows that he can be that anchor at the center spot. Anthony Belton, though, there's some concern here for me at right guard. Both of their guards, I'm a little concerned about it. In general, this offensive line is up and down. But Belton played right tackle in the Pittsburgh game, and I didn't think he looked very good at all. Then besides that, you got Jacob Monk, who can play a little guard. He's more of a center, though. You got Jagger Burton, who they drafted. You got Donovan Jennings, who they got a UDFA from a couple of seasons ago from USF. This is a big question mark, and Jennings even looked better than Belton, and I think Monk looked okay, but Burton looked okay. I think he had some rookie growing pains there, and you don't expect him to be an early guy starting and all those sort of things. But there is a serious concern for me at this interior offensive line. I'd say it's the weakest spot on their offense. And these guys really can't run block in general. They're not opening up a ton of lanes. So it's like, okay, they can pass protect okay, but run blocking has just not been very good for this football team. And they need an upgrade there for sure. In terms of who I think ends up making the roster, I do think it's pretty cut and clear. It's going to be your top 3 here, and then your Monk, Burton, and a Jennings as your next 3 to keep 6. So 10 total offensive linemen. Wade, Burnett, and Getsky, I think will all be practice squad candidates there. On to the wide receiver room, where I rank it at number 14. You got Christian Watson. You got Matthew Golden going to year number 2. Jaden Reed, as long as he stays healthy. Same thing with Christian Watson. They've got a nice, solid, dynamic threat that is an above average one, in my view. Besides that, the conversation is who are going to be the rest of the wide receivers. You got Savion Williams. Still a lot to prove there, but I think he's got a roster spot. Even though I will say this, Isaiah Nair, he needs to make the roster. I think he's looked really, really good. This Pittsburgh game, he looked very good. J. Michael Sturdivant looked good too. You got Sky Moore. He's going to be more of a return man. And then Bo Melton can also do returning, but he's more of your special teams, your coverage on your special teams ability. What he brings there is really, really good. That's why I'm saying it's going to be really challenging to cut 2 of those guys. I think they'll end up keeping 7, and then they'll have to make a really, really tough decision on which one they want to cut. Tight end room, I rank at number 5. It's a good one. You got Tucker Kraft singles coming back. That will be a huge boost to them. And this offense wasn't the same when he was not in this offense. You got Luke Musgrave who's dealing with an injury right now, so that opens the door for like a Drake Dabney to end up making the roster early on, or possibly one of these other guys, Castles, Yasmin, or Swinson. Swinson had a couple, I think he had a couple of grabs in that Pittsburgh game, or at least one I saw. You got Josh Wiley as the clear backup early on. This tight end room, though, might need to go out and find a veteran just in case, especially if Tucker Kraft is not 100% / Luke Musgrave needs a little bit more time. Depth is a bit of a concern, but I still rank him at number 5. Running back wise, I'm fine with this room. Marshawn Lloyd's going to get his opportunity to be that backup, that number 2 now. And Josh Jacobs is a top tier running back. Now he is dealing with some off the field stuff. I think he'll get a suspension more than likely in the next season. So there's a good chance they won't have to worry about it right now until all that legal process gets discussed and due diligence and lawyers and Perry Mason, but you got Chris Brooks working in as the number 3. I think they only end up keeping 3 running backs on the roster. However, if they want to keep 4, then Pierre Strong is probably the next guy up, or Damian Martinez or Jaden Nixon. You never know. Quarterback wise, it's pretty cut and clear here too. Jordan Love, Tyrod Taylor. I think they only end up keeping 2 going to the roster. I rank him at number 12. Jordan Love, it's a big year for him. And this season is going to be one of those seasons where it's like you got to prove it and taking that next step in this offense, because in many ways you can make the argument Malik Willis was better at times. Still think Jordan Love is an above average quarterback, especially when it comes to a clean pocket and allowing him some time to throw the football and surveying the field. He's very accurate. He's a good deep ball thrower. It just comes down to some consistencies and the fact that their interior offensive line, when that struggles, which it has of late, and not establishing a consistent run game, then you put more on Jordan Love. I don't know if he takes that next gear. On to the defense now, which is currently headed up by Jonathan Gannon, the new defensive coordinator. Jeff Heffley got a coaching staff. Jeff Hefty. But edge rusher rank, I rank him at number 14. The names, you know what I'm saying. These tongue twisters got you going tied like you're playing Twister up on a Sunday evening while you're watching football. Micah Parsons is injured, and he will probably be out on the PUP list early to begin this season. Lucas Van Ness, the Van Ness monster, looked great in the preseason game. I know it was a limited snap, but he got pressure and he got a sack. Then you got Baron Sorrell, was also not too bad there. I think that Colin Oliver was solid. And Dennis Sutton, who was out with an illness, he should be good to go, though, here soon. Brenton Cox looked good in the preseason game. The question here is how many guys do they want to keep on the roster? The guys that I like right now, though, I think are Oliver, obviously Van Ness, Sorrell are going to make the roster. Sutton's going to make the roster. Do they keep a 5th guy in Brenton Cox while Micah Parsons is out? I think there's a good chance that they do. And you have Cox in there who looked pretty good, especially as a pass rushing guy. In terms of practice squad, I think Aaron Mosley hits that role perfectly because they can call him up for injuries. He's a special teamer guy. He's really good on special teams too, but that would be my guess when what Mosley's role is going to be this season. Defensive tackle, I recommend number 23. You got Devontae Wyatt, Javon Hargraves. They'll be later on. You'll see them going. But for right now, it was Carl Brooks out there. You got Warren Brinson, who actually looks pretty good. Got to make the tackles so that way you can make those sacks. But he was over the place, all over. I like Jonathan Ford playing at nose tackle. Wasn't too bad. Nazir Stackhouse, you had to see him make tons and tons of plays. You got the young rookie, Chris McClellan, who will be an interesting watch this season. But my ultimate guess is that they'll end up keeping around 5 or 6 on this defensive tackle room. So you got your 3 right here. You got McClellan as a lock. Brinson, I think, is a lock. So actually, I think they'll end up keeping 6 because they're going to try to keep at least one like nose tackle type. Ford is more of a true nose tackle. Stackhouse is a really solid run defender too. They play him a little bit all over the place. Anthony Campbell, I guess, could also compete in that role. He's more of a practice squad guy. I think that they would call up in that role if they have sort of injuries in that regard. It'll be interesting though. If they keep 6 defensive tackles, then they're probably going to be able to keep 4 edge rushers. So we'll have to watch out for that. Linebacker wise, you got a really good linebacking core. Rank him number 10. You got Edge Cooper. You got Jair Franklin, who looked good actually in the preseason game. Isaiah McDuffie, he's kind of like the backup Mike there. And then you got Tyron Hopper, who's kind of the backup to Edgerrin Cooper. So those are kind of your starting 4 right there. McDuffie and Hopper are going to be great special teams. Nick Nyman has a good chance, too, to make the roster for special teams. So that is a very solidified group. Maybe they keep 4 only. I would also consider them keeping 5 for that special teams with Nick Nyman. This is where things get a little bit cloudy, especially with Keyshawn Nixon's situation off the field, whatever the heck is going on there with the negotiations and he's not being happy. So that's going to have to get resolved. His effort too has not been great in tackling. He missed a couple of tackles and he just doesn't look interested at the moment. So that will have to get worked. Maybe they give him a little incentives this season. Carrington Valentine, I know, has heard some trade discussion rumors. Why would you trade him, though, right now in your depth and possibly Keyshawn Nixon holding out or whatever? I don't think he's going to hold out, but he's just not happy if they traded him. They got Javon Bullard, who's a little banged up right now, but should be full good to go. You got Benjamin St. Juste, who's going to be competing with Keyshawn Nixon / Carrington Valentine. Brandon Cisse. This is just a preliminary starting lineup. This thing could change. I think Cisse has a real chance of starting this season. And same thing with Benjamin St. Juste. Doesn't look too bad either. So Goody might have to hit up the telephone and try to find a veteran corner or something right now because this is concerning. This is like the interior of the offensive line on the defense side of the ball. It's probably the biggest area of concern that I have right now for this defense and could be a big problem for them. And they got Damani Jackson too, who can work in, maybe make the roster spot. Especially since they're only going to keep 3 safeties. You got Xavier McKinney, Evan Williams, and Oladapo. I don't think they need to keep anybody else, especially with Jonathan Baldwin now injured. Maybe they decide to keep Mark Perry or a Keunion. I don't know. Those are all options on the table. My guess is those will be more like practice squad and you call up for injuries because Buller can also play safety too. Now, Micah Parsons has made that bold prediction that they're going to win the NFC North. I love the optimism. I just can't quite get there. It's still a tough division. The Vikings could be sneaky. The Lions will have some holes too, but you got the Bears who look really, really good. It's not the easiest of divisions. And the fact of the matter, I'm worried about the interior offensive line and maybe just the offensive line in general. And then the cornerback position looks a little bit scratching crazy. I'm not sure, right? So there's between the interior offensive line and the cornerback room, some big questions there. Certainly let me know what your thoughts, your opinions are on the Green Bay Packers, whether you're a shareholder or not.